MK. Mine.
Tune into the final take with MK Mariner every Saturday on the Alcamba Times and experience extensive conversations on a variety of topics, including national and international headlines, breaking issues, and major developments in politics, business, innovation, science, and sports, along with inspiring stories and expert analysis to provide a comprehensive understanding of the news.
Hello and warm welcome to yet another exciting edition of the final take with me, Seni MK Marina. This week, an exclusive conversation with Gambian author and former U.S. Army veteran Dr. Papa Fall, exploring the insightful context of his publication, Political Career and Security Sector Reform, as well as the 2015 fuel coup against former dictator Yahya Jammeh. That's the final take with me, Seni MK Marina. Many thanks for joining us on this program.
Tune into the final take with MK Mariner every Saturday on the Alcamba Times and experience extensive conversations on a variety of topics, including national and international headlines, breaking issues, and major developments in politics, business, innovation, science, and sports, along with inspiring stories and expert analysis to provide a comprehensive understanding of the news.
Many thanks and warm welcome to the program. Let's get straight into the conversation, starting with a brief bio of our guest, Gambian author, Dr. Papa Fall. Spent most of his life defending freedom from his stint in the United States military for 10 years, which include deployment to Afghanistan. Dr. Fall, a former presidential aspirant in 2021 Gambia general election, was instrumental in 2014 attempt to dislodge former Gambian dictator Yahya Jammeh in one of the most notable efforts to bring freedom to Gambian people. Dr. Fall, who holds a dual master's degree in technology management and an MBA and doctorate degree in business administration, has authored 2 books, A Week of Hell, which depict the 1981 attempted coup d'etat in the Gambia against the government of Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, and A Stranger in Newborn depict a Kenyan man's journey in search of a better life in the United States. Fall is currently writing his 3rd book on 2014 attempted coup d'etat against Gambia's former president Yahya Jammeh. Let's bring in the Gambian author and politician who join us live from Minnesota to discuss insightful context of his publication, Political Career and Security Sector Reform, as well as the 2014 fuel coup against former dictator Yahya Jammeh. Many thanks for joining us, Dr. Fall. Let's begin with your first book, A Week of Hell, which takes us back to 1981 and the devastating coup attempt that nearly put the country on standing peace and stability. How much of a historical turning point was the 1981 coup, Dr. Fall?
Good afternoon or good morning, Mr. Marina. It is absolutely an honor to be on your show and to discuss matters relating to our country. The 1981 coup d'etat happened when the country was just emerging from independence. The country was only 16 years old. That means that we had about 2 elections, maybe from 1965. We have the 1975, and then onwards. So the devastation was really great. The country, for many people who have been around at that time, in the 70s, late 70s, we had a lot of issues, global issues, high rises in gas prices and you know, grain problems. The Sahel, the dry season was really devastating. It devastated the area, basically, West Africa, basically. But the economy was struggling when the coup d'etat happened, and it really devastated everything because the looting, it took us back many years, uh, and that actually started the process. It became the baseline for everything that we're seeing right now, meaning the economic recovery program that was initiated in 1985, and then the military foundations, and then going through that. So it all started there, I should say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the consequent retribution and revenge attack that follows in the wake of the coup. You explore the socio-economic breakup and frustration of the time. What drove the citizenry to such a low moment?
In 1981,
Yes.
well, uh, like what I was saying, the global Gambia is not a singular country. It's depend on the global economy. So anything that happened, especially the oil prices, skyrocketed at that time, and then we have drought in the Sahel, uh, and then that impacted our economy very much. And being only 16 years old, so we are still coming from colonialism. Uh, Although the government was trying a lot, because if you ask many people who lived through that time, we always say those are the best times because we got free. I've been to the hospitals. I mean, I was a sickly kid. I spent a lot of time in the hospital, so I know the healthcare was wonderful. Uh, Standard of living was great. People were getting paid $150, and they can be able to buy a bag of rice. They can eat meat anytime. So things were very, very normal. Now, obviously, some people, when we were growing up, we had this mentality of communism. This was the idea that the government have to apply this communist and socialist ideology. I was one of Karl Marx. We read all, Lenin. We read it and we believed in it. So when the coup d'etat happened in 1981, Kuko Samba, which he was actually thinking about the same line, trying to introduce communism into the Gambia, and many of the people who actually share that kind of view joined in. And then when the war broke out, the problem that happened was that, citizen, rivalry, tribal rivalry, and citizen rivalry began. We got people who will take weapons and go kill somebody for nothing. And Mustafa Danso, who was released uh, uh, the prisons,
Yeah.
also came in and killed so many other people.
But this Mustafa Danso was executed, after the 81 coup,
He was subsequently executed, but when he killed Eku Mahoney, he
Yes.
was sentenced to life in prison.
Akumaoni was a field force officer, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So when Kukoi released him, he went on a rampage. So that is the reason why the government has to execute him after, because you go to a life in prison and all of a sudden you're released, you do several killings too. So I think he was the only one who was executed in the Gambia.
Okay. 1981 coup also manifested a political rupture and immense dissatisfaction among political class. Was this the first sign of institutional weakness, and constitutional erosion in the Gambia?
Well, you know, the PPP, when they first started, um, especially in the Gambia, our civil service was very weak. There were not a lot of educated Gambians at that time. So the government has to struggle to send people to Ghana to be educated, to learn about how to manage government. And at the same time, those who are coming back uh, find themselves in these positions. Now, the 1970 Constitution, if you can see, it was a very solid constitution.
Mm-hmm.
They got 1980, I think it was 1985,
Mm-hmm.
it got adjusted again. The Constitution itself was very solid. It allowed free political parties participations.
Mm-hmm.
We have the NCP,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the party of Hassan Musa Kamara and others who, you know, the political landscape was not restricted because we don't have political infighting. You know, you see in those days, if you ask people who actually were lived through it, we're like Sanawiya, you know,
Yes.
politic at that time, it was not a rivalry, it was Sanawiya. You know, you have people who in NCP will do Sanawiya with people with PPP
Right.
and so on, so on. So it's true. We know the history of Sirif Diba when he started his party in 1975.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it began this the multi-party system. It was only, but at that time the main rival is like uh, Republicans and Democrats.
Yes.
You have the independents and you have the Green Party, which really did not, they don't make any effect in the political landscape, but they're there. So that's how it was in the Gambia too, because we have the NCP as the main party and the
Mm-hmm.
DPP as the main party, and then you have the smaller parties that are trying to gain footing. So those may seem as though they are, you know, they are not getting their fair share, but the landscape, political landscape, was, from my point of view, after looking back, and when I was young, also I remember how we used to have fun during politics, during campaign time. So it's different, but the landscape was. I mean, there is no perfect system.
Wisdom. Mm-hmm.
No system is perfect. No democracy is perfect because people have different ideologies, and when they don't get through, they may feel victimized.
Yes. Yeah.
But the political landscape was okay. Now, when the coup d'etat happened, I think our problem started there because the economic shock that happened after that. Then you have the confederation that was initiated after that. Uh, we were paying a lot of money into the confederation budget, confederal budget.
Mm-hmm.
Senegal, although they were paying some more too, but if we look at the whole entire setup,
Mm-hmm.
Gambia and Senegal, it should have worked, but that is another story that we
Right.
can go through. You know, that's a whole slew of things that happened that led to its collapse.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the army. The field force was converted into the army. The military, so the Gambia Armed Forces was
Yeah.
created, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult to maintain a military because they don't produce, but it is a very essential part of the national security because security they do perimeter security for outside defense, and it was as though we are looking for something
Mm-hmm.
that can be able to help the country stand on its own. So the Gambia Armed Forces was just coming through, and the budget was getting larger.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to go through the economic recovery program. And at the same period, these are happening within the same span. You have the entrenchment, where the civil service was downgraded. Some of the people were pushed into the private sector, and that also created a temporary shock on the economy, because people started having problems with jobs and stuff. So the government did good though, because they developed a training program to help those who were let go from from the civil service. And then 1989, 1990, then we have this confederation breakdown. Then the government has to struggle to fill in the gap that the Senegalese troop left. So you see now how it is actually moving towards 1994.
Leading to the 1994 coup. We're going to talk about the 1994
Exactly.
coup.
It is going through the 1994 because the weakness already started when Senegalese left. And after that one, after the 1990, 1994. And then the biggest issue also was, I think that the government's biggest failure came when it brought in the NATA, the Nigerian army. Nigerians were expert in coups. I mean, we see since their inception, they've been coup after coup after coup after coup. So they are addicted to it at that time. So bringing that army in, I think also contributed to it. But it started way back.
Absolutely. Papa, my next question is, let's shift the conversation to your days in the U.S. Army. You served in the U.S. Army for more than 10 years as a veteran who sacrificed everything to defend democratic values. How do you see the future of the free world amid increasing conflict and socio-political instability right now?
We are living in a very dangerous era. I joined the military in 2001, right after 9/11. 9/11 actually found me. I was going to work. I was working in Washington D.C., not far from how to call it, the White House. So I actually heard the news when I was in the train, and I saw the whole entire picture when I was at work, and they sent us home because the flight that's coming from Pennsylvania that crashed in Pennsylvania was on its way, so we were sent home, and I followed the event after that. I was a network administrator at that time. So, when you have the inclination of service, it's very difficult to remain in the private sector. I have always had this challenge. It was not financial because I was getting well paid, but I joined because I felt, the fulfillment of service. And when the war kicked in, it was very difficult because we were sending people to Iraq, then to Afghanistan, and then I myself got deployed. After I started with the Air Force, and then I moved to the Army. Then right after I moved to the Army, I got deployed. We had that belief that we were defending freedom. Because truly, when you go to these countries, you see how they are living. But I think that looking back, what I saw, I thought that yes, we were there. What we were supposed to do, what everybody, all of us, the soldiers, believed in, we are seeing it differently now because the way things are going, there's a facade that is being revealed. The American government, I try to separate the people of the United States and its government
Mhm.
because the people are amazing. The government have this. I mean, everything that the government does, it doesn't mean that the people actually know. They don't. What is? There are many citizens who who don't actually believe that
What
we
their
have
governments are doing. Mhm.
exactly we have all these bases outside when people are suffering in the United States here. So uh, the defense of freedom is fundamental when it is even from the religious perspective and from the human perspective. We have to defend the weak, those who are vulnerable, and those who are being oppressed.
Mhm.
It is our duty to defend them. So that is the belief that we all have. Uh, but now, with the development that is going on right now, I believe that it is we are in a very dangerous. Uh, we are moving in a very dangerous direction. The world, I have this feeling that it is not going to. It's only going to get worse.
Mhm.
Uh, Israel, since its inception, and this Israel issue also is a whole new conversation that we can
Yeah.
have. Since I mean, something that started all the way back in 1790s, 98. That you have to come back and you know the history of it, the Zionist movement and the idea of Zionism. Uh, and then the Quran, you have to, what the Quran said about the Jews and how they were treated, and that's how they were dismissed, and how they were banned to return, all those things. So it is a very dangerous thing. It is you have Israel and surrounded by Arab countries,
Yeah.
and and the they were actually those Arab countries were actually there for a purpose. So now Iran is involved, then we
Yeah.
have serious issues. We can look. I think that from the Gambian perspective, we have a very serious introspection that we need to get ourselves ready for what is to come. I mean, this is it is not a joke. We can sit down and talk about. Some people are going to say that we are just gaslighting, but you got to look at the global trend, just like what we were saying in 1981, 1979, 1978, 77. We had the global gas prices that have been skyrocketing and then we compounded by drought. Now we're going to have similar issue, but instead of drought, we're going to have war. So we are already struggling with gas prices. We are already struggling with high food prices. We are already struggling with everything in the Gambia. So what should the government do to ensure that when things happen, we Gambians are able to weather through the winds? So it's a storm that is coming. We have to be able to be able to get ourselves ready for it.
As we speak right now, Dr. Fall, Israel is bombing Lebanon, and the war is getting more and more complex with regional forces clashing over various interests. What's your take on this Israeli aggression against Palestine, Gazans, and Lebanon? Because you serve a army that is defending Israel right now, in this war.
What
What's
an
your opinion?
irony, right? It is
Yeah,
an irony, isn't it? Uh,
right.
it, it is, you know, it is not only me uh, as a veteran
Yeah,
that is disappointed with what is going on. If you go to Twitter now and you look at, especially the veterans that have served, how they're feeling right now, it is really terrible that you put your life on the line to defend a country that you believe that stands for something, just to find out it stands for something else. You see, it's a very serious problem.
Mhm.
Israel, uh, since its inception, the idea when the Ottoman Empire collapsed, and we know how Ottoman Empire, how it was dealt with. It was actually purposely broken down for Israel. The Jews, the Zionist project actually lobbied for the British
Mhm.
to fight the Ottomans, and then you have Arabs who aligned with British because of self-interest. They were promised, you know, land and all those things. So when the Ottoman Empire fell, now the British mandate came. Now the Jews started coming in. The Jews bought land, but it was just, about, I think what 300 acres or something. I think that's what I read.
That's a very interesting historical context of this
Yeah,
war, because a lot of people don't know how this war in fact started. So it's
exactly.
important that you are
It's a
bringing
lost.
the
It's a loss
historical,
for the Jews
context,
to
so that
introduce.
our viewers, can understand,
Yeah,
this war. Because I'm talking to you because you serve in similar conflicts. You were
yeah,
in Afghanistan, you were in Afghanistan, and then you experienced firsthand this kind of conflicts.
yeah. It is a very difficult conflict. Israel is in for a very difficult uh, uh,
Right. Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
because the thing is, just like in Afghanistan, this era, Hezbollah
Yeah.
and
Hamas.
Hamas,
Mhm.
they don't fight conventionally, just like how the Taliban was in Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Mhm.
Afghanistan is mountainous.
Yeah.
Where we were, my base is called Fab Solano. It is sitting in the in the middle and surrounded by mountains.
Wow.
You see, so you have the Taliban's coming in every time with their rockets
Yeah.
on the other
Firing at
side
you.
of the fire, and before the helicopter goes up, they disappear.
It's
And
like a, a guerrilla war.
it's a guerrilla war. That's how it is. That's why you see Hamas have tunnels
Yeah.
underneath. They will pop up, and shoot at the Israeli tanks
And
and
go,
disappear. That's
Mhm.
why Israelis are thinking that they are fighting with ghosts. You think that you're fighting with ghosts, it's because they know the terrain. You don't know the terrain.
Mhm.
You have conventional ideas. They
And
don't.
modern
Yeah,
weapons. Yeah.
what they call the asymmetric warfare. That's what people have been talking about, this asymmetric warfare, where Israel, the only thing that it can do is bomb, because these people will not have the long range to bring down the fighter jets. The F-35s are very fast. They're stealth. What they call the stealth, meaning that they can approach very fast, and before you realize it, they're gone. So it is very hard to shoot at something that you don't hear,
Mhm.
and
Oh, see.
exact opposite. It will come on top of you, and before you know it, it's done. But when we do ground invasion, that's why the
Mhm.
problem is. If you see what is going on in Gaza and now West Bank, the Israelis are getting killed in numbers. That's why I mean, you see, I always say the Israeli soldiers, they're going in and they're destroying houses, they're killing civilians.
Yeah.
To them, because it's like you are in the middle of a crowd. Somebody slap you, and they're all
Yeah.
wearing the same thing.
Yeah. You
Who,
don't know who slapped
exactly.
you.
Who slapped you? So they think that okay, the only thing that we can be able to do is move people. If we move people, maybe Hamas, we can see Hamas sneaking in there, and they will kill him. That's why you see these mountains. They are going to have serious problem, and Lebanon is going to be very difficult. Unfortunately, Hezbollah is having a lot of issues because Israel, what they did. And that I had this conversation with IMK TV before.
Mhm.
The biggest threat
Mhm.
to insecurity is having human intelligence. Israel is able to embed human intelligence. I mean,
Yeah,
intelligence.
human right bodies accuse them of using AI to track and kill people in Gaza and in Lebanon.
That is another whole scenario. Israel, what Israel is actually doing with that AI is extremely dangerous. It's like I don't know if you go to Google,
Mhm.
you type something, you search something. Let's say, for example, you search for shoes, and then when you get out of there, the next time when you come, you will see the picture of shoes, even though you didn't search for it. You see, this is how Israel is using technology to identify
And kill.
people, because every this AI, it's machine learning. It learns your behavior. It
Mhm.
learns your
Your
characteristics. It
movement.
learns
Mhm.
your web search. If you search about bombs, this thing will learn about it. If you search about shoes, it will learn about it. It will know you,
Mhm.
and it will give you a number rating from low, high, high risk, extremely high risk, and then if you it will follow you and bomb your family, with you and your family. So what Israel is doing is extremely dangerous. We have never seen anything like this. Uh, Conventionally, when we were if when we were in the battlefields, we use computers, yes, but we use cameras
Yeah.
to identify to the balloons. We call it the blimpy. They call it the blimpy, where you can. It's a big balloon that is up in the sky,
Yeah.
and we can be able to see even inside of somebody's house. They're sitting at their porch. They're sitting at on their porch, having a conversation. So if we
And
were,
this technology was used in Afghanistan where you served too.
it is, yes, but no, it is not this. It is not this kind. This is more advanced. We rely on we relied on images, and we relied on intelligence, human intelligence. But
Mhm.
this one is really different because it's a software. It's an application that in Israel has control over all the phones, all the phone numbers,
Hmm.
everything. It knows everybody's phone number, your name, your address, your phone number, how many kids you have.
So the Palestinians, right? Or
Yes, the Palestinians. It has all their information. So they put that information in the database. And then your criteria, the software learns based on your searches. Like what I was saying about Google, about using
yeah,
Google,
yeah. When you
using
research shoes,
Viber, you using WhatsApp. It gathers all these things. It sucks in all that data and does analysis, risk and to see whether you're a risk to Israel, whether now or in the future. And then it makes determination based on that.
hmm,
And then you see that it is so fast because, as according to what I heard, it when they identify you, the software can track you to your house,
yeah,
where it knows that you were there with your family, and it would ping uh, an aircraft or somebody or whoever is supposed to shoot.
yeah. Alert, yeah. Send an
Yeah,
alert, yeah.
it's an
That
alert,
so
and
and
then
so
your whole
passing, yeah,
exactly the whole house is it's
to
bombed.
bring them.
Actually, what Israel is doing is extremely bad.
Mhm.
We go through, and I know they go through the same thing during our training in the military. One of the biggest things that they instill in us is the war of arms conflict, the laws of arms conflict. We call it LOARC. It tells you that you cannot fight somebody, kill somebody who does not have a weapon in their hands.
Huh.
And if they have a weapon in their hands, you gotta look at the surroundings, who is there, make an assessment. In a 6 seconds, I'm talking about 6 seconds, you have to determine all that. Because what happens is you don't want the collateral damage. If a child is standing next to somebody who has a gun, you cannot kill them.
Because of the child.
Because of the child. And you cannot bomb their house because of innocent people who are there.
Well, Israel didn't care, because yesterday I was watching the Al Jazeera documentary about how genocide was committed there. And the same thing you are saying was highlighted in the video. They were bombing places that have no military significance or have no link with Hamas.
Yes.
You know, and then a lot of people died during that bombing, and these are innocent civilians.
You know, it all comes down to what you asked me earlier about what is the Israel itself, the state of Israel, how it was formed. And I said that you have 300 acres that they bought. When people are coming in, there were Arabs over there. Those Arabs actually welcomed them. Open-handed. But Israel's goal was not to settle in that 300 by 300. Its goal is to take over the whole entire Middle East, the entire land, because it says that God has given that land to them. So their idea is to cause terrorism, to force them out. It's the same thing that they're doing. If you cause terror, people will run away. But the reason why Gazans are still here, you see, Jordan is saying that we're not going to open our borders. Egypt is saying we're not going to open our borders. It's because Israel's intention is
if they go, they will not come back.
They will not come back. If we kill them, they run, we take the land. That is the whole idea behind this thing. It is not about Hamas. It is about the land.
It's about occupation.
It's about occupation. And unfortunately, the United States is helping.
Yeah. The country you serve diligently.
Let me tell you something that we need to understand. I'm sure you heard about AIPAC, the Israeli lobby that is in the United States.
Yeah, in the Capitol Hill. Yeah.
In 1963, when John F. Kennedy suggested to have AIPAC or any, it was not called AIPAC, to be registered as a foreign agent, they killed him. They killed him. When he said you cannot have a nuclear weapon, that whole thing, they killed him. So if you look at Israel's behavior when the British were defending them, the British were the reason why they went to went to Jerusalem, the Jews, the Israel. Now you look at how they drove the British out there. It's through terrorism. They started killing the British themselves. They kill officers through bombs, booby traps. Menachem Begin, we know that he became a prime minister, but he was killing British. So they have the same mentality. That is the fear that they have. If you look at the Congress, majority of the congressional members are Jews.
Yeah. And pro Israel.
It is there, not pro-Israeli. They are Israelis. So if you look at, that's why America is in a very dangerous place right now, because if your government is occupied by foreign nationals, then everything and they don't have allegiance to
your country,
but Israel, because that's what you see when they talk allegiance to Israel. So they send money, whatever Israel wants, they will do, because it is the same people.
Even the bomb that killed Nasrallah, the Hezbollah leader, I understand it's an American-made bomb.
It is an American bunker buster weapon. It's 900 kilograms.
Deep on the ground.
Yeah. It's and they sent I think about 80 of them.
Wow.
So it's once you hit, I don't know, you remember 19, I think 2003
Mhm.
when they Tora Bora. You heard, I don't know, you heard about the Tora Bora mountain when they attacked. They thought that Osama bin Laden was there.
Yes,
They
in
dropped these
Afghanistan. Yeah.
exactly these dropped these 2,000 bombs there. So it creates a shock. It creates a huge cradle, goes
Wow.
down. So 80 of them. That's how they killed him because if you have a bunker, you drop one, it goes a few meters, 30 meters. You drop another one at simultaneously, another 30 meter. They drop 80 of them. So that is
Hmm.
the reason why on the same place, that's why it went down. So if you look at 80 times 30, how many meters is that?
Hmm.
That's why,
Interesting.
and then the wide, when it explodes, it goes out 400 meters.
Underneath.
400 meters, when it hits radius wise,
Okay. Okay.
it
Okay.
the shrapnel actually just it throws out 400 meters. 400 meters is a lot of, imagine if you're walking. For me, my 100 meters is 62 paces. If I walk, every pace is a distance. I count 62, that's 100 meters. So if I walk from this corner to that corner, it's 100 meters. I do that 4 times.
Hmm.
So imagine how many, everybody who is around
The
that area,
impact will be
that area.
felt all over the place. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Papa, this is a very interesting conversation, and then it seems we have a lot of time on it because it's a very complex
Yeah. It
discussion.
is not an
And
easy thing. It's very
yeah,
complex.
so we're going to shift the conversation,
Yeah.
because our main topic is on Gambia. But because of your background in the U.S. military, I want you to tell our readers and viewers about your experience in Afghanistan and your views on the deepening crisis in the Middle East, as
Yeah.
well as the Israel occupation in Palestine, Gaza. So
Yeah.
so now let's shift this conversation to the Gambia, which underwent 2 decades of repressive rule under dictator Jammeh. You were involved in one of the most courageous efforts to topple his regime, which subsequently ended after his defeat in 2016 election. Take us through your contributions of the Gambian diaspora and their impact in weakening the dictatorship regime. You participate in a fuel 2015 coup. Tell us your experience. What motivated you with a group of Gambians sitting here in the US plan and go to Gambia to bring down a brutal dictator? And some of your colleagues lost their life.
Yeah. You know, Gambia situation date way back, in 1994 when the coup d'etat happens. I was here, and when when Sadauda came to, I think it was 2000.
And for our readers, you are Saudoda's grandson, for record, right?
Yeah, yeah. For when he came, I think it was 1997 to try to restore the democracy, democratic, basically to democracy back. We were there demonstrating.
Mhm.
So Gambians who are in the diaspora really felt the need to stand for Gambia because every demonstration, everything happened. We participated in a lot of demonstrations. I myself participated in several demonstrations. Um, I stopped participating when I joined the military after 2001. So when I left, it's like I resumed back to demonstration. Our next demonstration was when I think the mile 29 were
Yeah,
executed.
2012 when they were executed, the
Exactly.
death row inmates.
The death row inmates, when they were executed, we went back because that is when we realized that something else have to be done. You know, uh, the uh, the organization that we created. I don't know if you have been to the Raleigh conference. It was in 2013, I think. We did a Raleigh
Yeah.
conference, where we had a decision. Political parties came.
Yeah,
according
yeah, I
to us.
remember. Yeah, OJ was there, Dabo was there,
Exactly.
Hamad Ba was
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
exactly. So we had a conversation about what the future is for the Gambia. We At that time we had already have Duga that was created.
yeah,
I was one of the members who created, me
yeah.
and Seifal and Pastor
And
Patel, we created
Joe,
this
yeah, and son
Duga.
of Salah, yeah.
In there, I mentioned in our submission that if political uh, uh, strive, political struggle did not succeed,
Yeah,
we really have to look for some other alternative, because you cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and
without
over,
a result, yeah.
and then you expect a different result. So I included that in 2013 in our submission.
Yeah.
Now it was way back when uh, things got worse and worse and worse. The idea of this endeavor was taken. I was not there. Hello, I was not participant. I was not the initiators. I was not among the initiators. I could say that I was one of the last people they approached
So
uh,
join that.
to join. But uh, the reason why actually I was part, because I called one of the members with frustration. I remember I was listening to
Panderi,
Panderi.
yeah, the late
Panderi is
Panderi,
always
the late
yeah,
journalist.
yeah.
Yeah,
And on the way, I called my colleague. I'm like, you know what? This has to stop. We've got to think about something else. He said, "I'll call you back." It was after a month. He called me back and said, "You know what? I know you asked this question, but it is something that we're working on, and this and this and this." I said, "Fine, sign me in. We gotta do this." So I met with the organizers over the phone, with a conference, and we got the strategies and what each of one of us was supposed to do. I was tasked to, to get some of the weapons that we got, and
you
some other.
guys, you guys got very sophisticated weapons. I understand.
Well, they have, the one thing in the United States is that weapons are rampant here. You can buy, but
Yeah,
they
in the
do a
shop.
background change.
Yeah,
They get a background check and everything else. The difficulty for us is how do we? Well, you can buy it, but you cannot export it
yeah, outside. Yeah.
outside. So how do you export those things? I bought 8 M4s.
Wow.
It says AR-15s.
You personally bought those ones.
Yeah, I bought 8 of them. Yeah, and I think about 2 handguns. So I was tasked to do that, and I bought them. With I fired them to make sure they work.
Mhm.
you know, uh, they are not an automatic. They are set. They are automatic rifles, but they are actually not automatic. They're called semi-automatic.
Mhm.
So they do like 3. When you pull the trigger, it shoots 3. Instead of going that rapid. When you pull it, it just kicks in, and then it recoil again, and then you shoot. It recoils. So um, it serves the purpose. But coup d'etats are not good. As I wrote in a Week of Hell, the danger that we have. I went through the very difficult time when I was 13 years old. When the war broke out, 1981.
Mhm.
They were pursuing our family. We have,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah. Because of your relation, because of your
yeah,
grandpa. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know, running away from from people who want to kill you is not an easy thing.
Mhm.
It really hurts. So coup d'etats and violence is not good. Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
But sometimes they say that power is not given willingly.
Yeah.
It's not surrendered willingly. At some point, not all the time, but power sometimes are not is not surrendered willingly. So you have to. It depends. It's up to the people. If Gambian people were able to organize and do demonstrations and go demand for their rights, I think that coup d'etats will not have been necessary.
Papa, you take a very brave and courageous action because you know about the implication of, staging a coup against someone who has, who has protected himself very well. And you still went ahead. You could have died in the case of your own colleagues. So what forced you to, disregard those risks and go to Gambia, fly from the US, go to Gambia and launch an attack against an incumbent president who is known for his brutality?
Uh, it is not for if you have to have bottle experience to be able to do these things. You have to have experience and be able to be in an environment like that. It is not something it would be minded to say that, today I'm going to go and do this. Something like that. You have to have the experience. We have the experience, especially in Jaga and I.
Yeah.
Jaga has been
was a
deployed.
captain.
Yeah, he was captain. He deployed twice in Afghanistan, so he had the experience. The rest, I don't. The rest,
Lamin Sane,
Lamin Sane, I don't think Lamin Sane didn't go to war, but he had.
No, he was a former state guard commander. He didn't.
Yeah,
he was not the U.S. Army. He was.
Yeah. State House command. No, what I was gonna say is in the war zone.
Yeah,
that's one thing. Strategy is another.
Right.
He knows strategy. Lamin Sane went to war college and he knows strategy. You see what I mean? We combine our combat experience with the strategy so we can be able to do the things that we did. See, we had put our stuff together before we left.
Yeah.
We studied the environment before we left. We knew what to do when we were there.
I understand you guys were in Banjul for a couple of weeks before you launch an attack, right?
I think that Barrow was there before December.
Alaji Sedi Barrow, yeah.
Yeah. I came after him. I came December 3rd. I came December 3rd. So I was there for almost quite a long time. Barrow was there for almost a month and a half. So I think Jaga was the next who came on the 15th
of December 2014.
Yeah. So we are the three with combat experience or military experience basically we were able to put the weapons together and we were able to do so many other things. Underground, now everything they said experience is knowledge gain.
Do you recognize some of these weapons we are showing?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it one of those you bought in Minnesota?
I think all the black ones.
I see.
Yeah, the AK-47 were brought in by what's his name? Barrow.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it is not, I think we put together our experiences and ideas together to do what we're supposed to do. Now, it's just that it didn't, we did not want to inflict any casualties.
Yeah, pain on the ordinary innocent citizens, right?
Exactly. But if we were like Israel, it would have been different.
different.
We
Yeah.
didn't come with that mindset. We were very careful not to alert, at the same time, not to cause panic, and at the same time, not to cause harm. That is why uh, we were very our plans. Some of the plans that we put together before we executed, we had to abort.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
I
did.
understand you aborted your first plan to assault the president in a convoy.
Yeah, uh, but the president knew that we were in country.
He knew about it before
He
the attack.
knew about it because it was the United States that actually tipped them off.
Oh wow.
Believe it or not, the news
The,
came from
the country that you serve.
yes. The tip came from the U.S. embassy in Senegal, and I know the person who conveyed it. I know the last name. I know the person who conveyed it. Now, I didn't. We didn't know that until I returned. That this was what actually happened. But he knew that we were there. But he doesn't know where we are
And when you're going to launch the attack.
exactly. The NIA was working really hard to identify us where we were, but we were able to do what we're supposed to do uh, without them knowing. I think the assault that we did was the last chance for us to do. Else, we have to retreat. We have to go. Now,
Yeah.
going back, the United States, the government that the United States does two things: its interest and its interest alone. That's it. By tipping him off, if we succeeded, it would be a different matter. If we fail,
Mhm.
at least they will not point a finger at them.
Yeah,
He will
that
not
they are
point a-
aware. Yeah,
You see what I mean?
it's
This is
a
the
it's politics, you know. Yes.
it's that's how they did. That's what they did. They knew. They knew. So at the point, I think our assault was 8 people that finally went
Okay.
to assault the state house. We
It
were
does.
supposed to have a lot of manpower,
Yeah.
but the last minute back out.
Yeah.
Lamin Sane was completely betrayed by
Yeah.
his fellow soldiers. They didn't come through. They promised him and they didn't come through. That's why this thing. And at the same time, I have to say that the way the fact that it failed was very crucial, and I am glad that it did. Looking back, things would have been worse if the government, if we had succeeded.
Yeah.
You know, God works in miraculous ways.
Right.
Whatever doesn't happen, you know the reason, and you will not know until down the line.
Yeah.
After I
Yeah.
look back and I
After-
assess
Mhm.
everything,
Mhm.
I think that we were able to break that myth around Yaya Jammeh,
Mhm.
that he is not invincible,
Yeah.
as he always
Hard
said.
to claim. Yeah. Yeah.
You see,
Yeah. Mhm.
that he has genes around him. That is not true.
True.
He has all this manpower. That is not true.
True. Mhm.
We were able to assault the state house when he escaped because he didn't want
So
to get it.
Was Jammeh at the state house on that particular day when you laid the assault?
No,
He wasn't in.
he already left because the thing is, we we had different plans, and one
Yeah.
of the plans was that when he was leaving, we had intel that he was actually leaving the country because
Yeah, to Turkey,
usually,
somewhere like Tokyo,
yeah,
Mauritania. Yeah.
Qatar. I think he went to
Qatar.
Qatar or
Okay.
something. It was a very hasty uh, uh, trip.
Yeah.
He knew we were there. he has to escape. So he left. And when he was leaving, we had plans to 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 take him out. He, like I say, the what cannot should not happen will not happen. So the times that we were planning, things have changed, and we had to
Yeah.
let him go.
Yeah.
We let him go.
Mhm.
So
Papa, we are almost at the tail, and it's like the discussion is so interesting that I'm not cognizant of my
I'll be
time. It's one.
I'll be
It's
always available for you, buddy.
yes,
Anytime.
but let's discuss this. In 2021, you returned back to Gambia, and then you formed your political party and had plans to contest. You
No,
know,
not
uh,
I didn't form my political party. I was independent.
yeah, okay. You were an independent,
Yeah.
and then you wanted to contest for the presidency. Why this sudden change? From a military guy, a writer, who is now wanting to be the president. Why this shift into politics?
No, it's not like wanting to be a president. Uh, just like how we were driven to service, it's the same way we were driven to. I am driven, I should say, towards helping the country that I. I mean, I did help, and then I served the United States.
Yeah,
I didn't do any much that kind of service for my country.
yeah,
Well, obviously, 2014 was one of them.
yes,
But the political landscape, I think that I always say, when good people step back from
yeah,
politics, who will fill the gap? Bad people will.
yeah, yeah,
If good people who are loyal to the country, who are honest, integrity is everything. You have to have integrity. If you don't have integrity, everything falls apart.
right,
People with integrity, if they move back from politics and only do because they're comfortable, I think that the void will be filled with people who don't have integrity.
right,
You see, then we have this. But this is the reason why we have all this cycle of problems because people who have integrity don't want to take part in because they feel that their integrity will be tainted when they come in.
Mm.
You see, I love my country. I love the Gambia. I mean, I left. I am in the Gambia. My kids are there. I live there. So you could see how it would be impossible for me to not participate. I have I have my house. I have everything. I have my car. I get my pension. I have solar panels. I
Mhm.
don't get affected by these things. I have tanks that I get water all the time.
Mhm.
I can say I'm comfortable. But you know what? It's kind of a jihad kind of thing. If you, as Rasul said, if you eat until you're full and your neighbor is hungry, then you don't
Yeah,
have iman.
true.
So it is our duty, both religious side and as a citizen, with who love his country. It is only fair that I give back. I want to change the situation in the
Yes.
camp. It is not fair that
Yeah.
we can be able to have health care here.
Mhm.
My kids can come and get health care here, but
Quality one. Mhm.
nobody gets. People die out of from very minor diseases, minor
Yeah.
illnesses.
Papa, recent happenings in the country, have called on a broader, brought in a lot of issues. Like the country is facing a lot of challenges. Even others are saying that the country is sliding into dictatorship. You live in the Gambia. You made efforts to restore democracy, freedom in the country. Do you think that the Gambia is sliding back into dictatorship? And if yes, how do we stop this?
Well, I think that the government currently. You see, every government, if you're a leader who is there for yourself, and the plight of your people may be there, but it is not a big part of your service. Any threat to your life, to your way of doing things, you will feel threatened. That's how dictators are born. Not all leaders are dictators,
Yeah.
but dictatorship comes in, it creeps in. It
In
creeps
different stages.
it comes in. It's like something that is crawling in. If you don't prevent it from reaching you, it will reach you. Like what happened with the journalist.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
The
is very
Voice
serious.
newspaper
The
journalist.
Voice
Yes.
newspaper journalist. This is very serious because the problem is I read about that idea of Barrow taking Mohammed
Yeah. Yeah.
Jah as the
That's the
president.
successor. Yeah.
I read about it and I said, well, if Mohammed Jah does that, he is risking his credibility because he has a lot of business
Yeah.
interests.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mohammed Jah cannot maintain his businesses while he's a president. He has to
Yeah.
defer that. So if Mohammed Jah is smart, he will not get involved in politics. If he is dumb, then he will try this. I put it on Mohammed Jah. But I know Barrow will not give power to easily. So I told people that, you know what, this is a lie. But the problem is, why then would you arrest somebody who says something about things that are only affecting political parties? Barrow's political, this is it is not a national security threat. Why arrest him?
It's an individual, insecurity threat.
It's an internal matter. I posted. Why arrest me for false information? This is the danger of having to try to see that everything misinformation can be dangerous. Yes, misinformation can be dangerous only if it causes panic and it is becoming a threat to national security. That is when the government's responsibility, because you're not protecting yourself, you're protecting the public. You see, the people's interests always have to come into play. But no person's interest. This is not a people's interest. Why?
Absolutely. Papa, you are writing your third book. Your third book is trying to bring your story to light, how you participated into the Fuel 2015 coup in Gambia. Bring us to speed about this book. How soon can we?
This book is finished. I wrote it already.
Okay.
It's done, but I'm not going to publish it.
Why?
The same thing that I was telling you about the national security issues. The coup d'etats, we discussed that it is not a good thing, right?
Yeah. But
it is the last resort, right?
Yeah.
If I publish it, that it cause some issues. So I'm not going to publish it.
Yeah, but we have seen other people publish their experience about what happened.
Yeah, but what happens is fine because that is general public.
Yeah.
That's public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and search for it. But there are certain things that I could discuss how certain things are done.
Yeah.
And which cannot be a public access.
Okay.
I can copy and paste. If you want to know what it happened, you can go to Wikipedia and it will explain everything to you. But deep down, what really happened, how it happened, that is not for public consumption.
Many thanks, Papa.
I did write it.
Yes. Okay.
I package it. Yeah. And maybe when I'm out of this world, my son will publish.
Oh my God! No, we can't let that happen, Papa. We need to make this book popular. Anyway, finally, before I let you go, this is a very interesting conversation. It's 1 hour 10 minutes.
The book is about 160 something pages.
Can you give me can you what is the title of this book?
It's called Up Close.
Up Close.
Yes.
Interesting.
I titled it Up Close.
I hope Mr. Marino will get a rare copy of this book so that at least one day,
Maybe one day.
I can
One
come
day,
back and discuss.
I have discussed this with people, close people, friend of mine, to see what they think, whether I should publish it or not.
No, you should.
No, I gave them my concerns. You know, I have to balance things.
Yeah, that's right.
National security is very important. We don't play. I cannot play with that. That is the thing. And everybody recommended keep it, don't publish it, and that is the truth. And
but
I can be able
people
to
want to
print
know. People actually want to know. Hear from your own experience, Dr. Fall.
I have done a lot of interviews on this matter.
Okay, Dr. Fall. Just yesterday, President Barrow bid farewell to the economic Senegalese force, and there has been called that it's time for them to leave the country. As a security expert, what do you think about the current economic state in the country? Do you think time is up for them to leave and our own security take up the leadership?
That's a difficult question to answer. I will give you back to 1991 when the Confederation broke apart. When the Confederation broke apart, Senegalese military overnight packed their things and left. They left a huge vacuum. The government has to struggle to fill those to bring in people for the commands, and that's why actually they had to hurry and bring Nigerians into the country. So defense is not an easy thing. We can say that okay, they can pack themselves and go, but then what will replace them? In what manner would they be replaced? You see what I'm saying? It has to, if the government was doing it gradually, in introducing, giving the responsibility to the armed forces slowly, I would say that by a certain time period the armed forces can take over, because the people are. I think that this should have been done long time ago.
It's been 8 years, Papa. It's been 8 years
that's
since
what I'm saying.
it
should have been done right after when Barrow came into power. ECOMIC is here. The first year, we start introducing a responsibility to the armed forces.
But there was a security sector reform that has been rolled out. In other words, that is to help, modernize the security sector.
Modernization is one thing. But having a security force that is ready and is independent, and I have to praise the former CDS. I think it's Sanyang. Is it Sanyang?
Drame.
Drame.
Yeah.
The guy did an exceptional job with the armed forces. The armed forces right now, they are in a very difficult place. And I think that, to be honest with you, I'm not saying that it is high time. It is more than high time for them to take over the responsibility of security. But the introduction should have been happening a long time ago to pull, while you see, this is everything. While you pull the economic out gradually, you pull in the armed forces until you're comfortable to where you want them to be. You see what I mean? So that is where we are right now.
Absolutely.
The government, we cannot risk. The armed forces have to have their weapons. They have to have extreme power. But the problem is, you cannot, all these three branches, the State Guard, the PIU, the armed forces, the
Navy,
they all should have the same amount of training, they should have the same amount of firepower. This way, you have the balance of power within the sector. No one sector will get up, rise up, and then you see what I mean?
Yeah. Finally, Papa, in 30 seconds, are we seeing your name on the ballot in 2026?
I don't know.
Many thanks.
I
That's
don't know yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll come back to this platform and discuss more about that. For
Yeah.
those watching us, this is the final take with me, Seni MK Marina. In the studio is an insightful conversation with Gambian author, politician, and former U.S. Army veteran, Dr. Papa Fall, who has authored 2 books, and his final book is yet to be published. He's still contemplating
It is
whether to
not
publish
going
it or
to be
not.
published.
Many thanks, Papa, for joining us. For those who want to have his book, you can kindly get both the hard and soft copies of Dr. Fall's book from lulu.com and other
And
outlets selling his
it is also
publication.
available. It is also available in Barnes and Nobles.
Okay. So you get it from the authors himself, so you can get it and support his scholarly
Barnes and
work.
Nobles.
Many thanks, Dr. Papa Fall, former
Thank
veteran,
you.
former U.S. veteran Army, now a politician. Hopefully we'll see his name on the ballot. Papa, many thanks for joining the final take with
Thank
me.
you, Mr. Maron. It's been a pleasure. We'll
Thank
do
you.
this again.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Tune into the final take with MK Mariner. Tune into the final take with MK Mariner every Saturday on the Alcamba Times and experience extensive conversations on a variety of topics, including national and international headlines, breaking issues, and major developments in politics, business, innovation, science, and sports, along with inspiring stories and expert analysis to provide a comprehensive understanding of the news.
Many thanks. Anyway, you watching, that's brought us to the end of this show with me, Seni Marina, the final take. We'll continue next week with more, exciting guests here. Thank you and do have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye for now.